The topic that today I want to remind you guys about today is good character, inshallah. And I just want to take a couple of minutes to stress the importance of how fundamental good character is in our deen. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he taught us in a hadith that he was not sent except to perfect good character. And another hadith, as I had opened up with, is nothing is heavier on the scale of the believer on the day of judgment than good character, which shows how mighty of a thing this is. And subhanAllah, one of the scholars he mentioned, if you want to compare yourself to someone and see how you are doing a self-assessment, look at another person's character. Because if that person's character is better than yours, then think he's superseded me in the religion. Subhanallah, Imam Muhammad al-Ghazali, not the Ghazali from hundreds of years ago, but Shaykh Hamdi had reminded us in Ramadan that his opinion was that everything in Islam was prescribed for us to reach good character. And what is good character? It's something that inshallah I'm going to try to go over. I'm going to try to go over a couple of points on how we can absorb good character. But just before then, I wanted to mention another thing about good character is that, it slipped my head. It's okay, inshallah. Oh yes, when you assess yourself, which is something that we must do as Muslims, as believers, and I ask Allah makes us all amongst the believers, self-assessment is something that's very important. When you self-assess yourself, don't just think how much Quran do I have memorized? How much did I donate money to the masjid? The first thing you should look at is how am I treating people? How is my character? Is my character good? Am I harsh with people? Am I quick to let my tongue slip? Do I have an anger problem where I can't withhold my anger? Am I very stubborn? You have to self-assess yourself in terms of how you treat people. This is one of the most important things. And even Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was asked, why did most people go to Jannah? The people go to Jannah, why are they there? And he said the majority of the people who are in Jannah are because of two traits. Taqwa and husn al-khuluq, which shows how mighty of a thing this is. But inshallah, I'm going to go over a couple of traits with you guys that inshallah you guys will be able to absorb. Number one is truthfulness. It is contradictory to say I have good character, but I'm not a truthful individual. It doesn't work. In order to have good character, one of the requirements is that you are a truthful person. And not just in tongue, but in action too. If you have a business, are you dealing with people in truthfulness? If you're dealing with your wife or your kids, are you always being truthful? This is something to reflect upon. Number two is trustworthiness. Something also very important. When I'm dealing with people, am I a trustworthy individual? Am I quick to spread people's information? Because subhanAllah, I think it was Yusuf Qaradawi who mentioned that sometimes we focus on fiqh matters so deep that we forget the big picture. Sometimes we do things, we don't know how heavy they are. For someone to confide in us and to tell us something or to tell us about their business, if we go and spread that behind the person's back, it's something very serious. So this is another self-assessment that you have to do to yourself. Am I always a trustworthy individual? Humility. Nothing can corrupt a person like arrogance and kibr. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned, whoever has an atom's weight of arrogance will not enter Jannah. Why? If the tests of this life don't humble a person, if the time of death comes and the person's not humbled, then Jahannam will humble that person. It shows how serious of a matter it is. Humility is a requirement upon every single individual. You know, subhanAllah, in the tafsir, in Surah Al-Qiyamah, Hassan al-Basri mentions, verily, in the second ayah, لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة, the self-reapproaching soul. He says, verily, by Allah, we believe that all the believers are constantly questioning themselves. What did I intend when I do this? What did I intend when I gave this? What did I intend when I said this to myself? It's only the sinner who goes on not reflecting upon any of those things that he did. He mentions also in the tafsir that sometimes we're easy to point out the toothpicks and the thorns in another person's eye when we ourselves have a tree stump in our eye. What does it mean? You're easy to go and judge this person and look upon this person and look upon this person. You don't look at yourself. Everyone around you can see it except yourself. How can you do a self-assessment? Be honest with yourself. Look at your actions. It's easy for us to say we love to do good things. How many good things do we really do? It's a self-assessment, and this goes under inshallah. Patience, as-sabr, which is very important when dealing with people. Sabr comes, half the deen is patience. Like the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, how strange the affairs of a believer, everything that happens to him is good. If something good happens to him, he's thankful. If something bad happens to him, he's patient. It's half of the whole entire deen to be patient. When you're dealing with people, where is your cap? Where is it where it's like, okay, no, I don't want to deal with this person anymore? No, you have to be patient. It's something, inshallah, I ask Allah gives us al-firdaus al-a'la, but patience is a big part of that. Because we're mentioned, inshallah, they will have two jannahs. What's two jannahs? What does that mean? One for doing that which Allah has prescribed upon us, and another for staying away what Allah has prohibited. However, both of these require patience. The ta'ah of Allah requires patience. For you to wake up for Salat al-Fajr, that requires patience. For you to stay away from haram requires patience. And in the time of calamity, that also requires patience. Number 5 is forgiveness. Do not be someone who holds that grudge in his heart. It's something very, very serious. And the poison of the shaitan, he makes you believe, Wallahi, I'm justified this grudge against this person until the day I die. Wallahi, I've talked to people, and I said, what you want to forgive this person? And by my own ears, I heard, Wallahi, I will take it to my grave, I'll never forgive this person. Nothing's that serious. Yes, there are matters that can be dealt with. Yes, you have your haq. But what does it hold and what does it gain you to hold those grudges in your heart? Forgive them. Allah forgives the believers every Monday and Thursday, except for those who have problems between each other. Then it's held off. Shows my maghfirah, my forgiveness is being blocked because of my grudges. Yes, forgive within your heart, even if you don't vocalize it to the person. You don't have to go to the person say, oh brother, by the way, what you did, I forgive you. No, you can even keep it to yourself if that's too much for you, but forgive it in your heart. Don't let your head hit your pillow until you've removed the hatred of any Muslim from your heart. Number 6 is kindness. Allah is kind and He loves kindness with people. So it's important for us to treat people kindly. And there's a difference between being nice and being kind. Being nice is I just want people to be happy with me. I'll tell him what he wants to hear. I'll just make him feel good. But kindness is a little bit deeper than that. Kindness, I want what's best for this person, and I'll tell this person what's best. The worst thing a person can be sometimes is like a yes man. Like constantly praising someone or constantly, wow, you're so good at this or you're so good at that. But to be kind is to give the criticism when it's needed and to give praise if it's needed. But it's critical to have kindness and to have along with a good character. The good character is empty if you don't have that kindness. When you treat people, smile. How, even for me, like as a youth who's grown up in this masjid, I remember vividly being young and maybe saying Assalamu alaikum to one of the Ammas and he looks at me and he smiles. Well, something small, but I remember as a kid, I felt like, wow, I felt good. When you smile, it's contagious. Other people smile as well. And as a part of the sadaqah too is to smile. Maybe if you were to just enter the happiness into the heart of a Muslim just from a smile, which is of the most beloved of deeds, is to Allah is to enter happiness into the heart of another Muslim or to take away some of his anxiety. And a lot of times we come to the masjid, Assalamu alaikum, or you just walk away like that. And when you look at someone and you shake their hand, make eye contact and smile. This is part of good character. Number 7 is justice and fairness. Justice and fairness is something that is required in all aspects of your life. When you deal with people, deal with them fairly. The Prophet said each one of us is a shepherd responsible for his flock. The flock that you take care of, your kids, your wife, your employees, whatever it might be, your students, your teacher, deal with them fairly. Number 8 is modesty and haya. Allah hates the vulgar individual. He hates the coarse behavior. And haya is in your behavior. I'm not someone who's very abrasive. I'm someone who's modest and has haya. It falls under modesty as well. Number 9, I think I went over time. Sorry. Inshallah, I'll try to wrap these two up quickly. Is the generosity. Generosity is something that really builds love between people. If you give somebody a gift, if you spotted somebody on something and you gave them money for something, wallah, it builds the love. If you go out with your friends and somebody says, no, I insist I'm going to pay, you leave feeling, this person's good. It's innate in your heart that when somebody gives, then you appreciate it. And Allah is ash-shakur. Allah is the most appreciative. So think about a time in your life when somebody gave you something and you felt the most appreciative. When you do those deeds, Allah appreciates them even more. The highest degree of appreciation is with Allah. Think of how great of a thing that is. The generosity, when you come to the masjid and you're donating from the house of Allah, Allah appreciates it. Generosity with your children. Generosity is not just putting money in that box. When you hang out with your friends, if you see someone on the street who needs money, someone who you know he's in a difficult situation, why don't you take it upon yourself? Allah has allowed me to see this, let me jump on this. As-sabiqun, those who race towards the goodness. Be those who race towards the goodness. A very easy way to do that is through the pocket. It's very easy to race the goodness with the pocket. A lot of other things, sometimes you have to take time out of your day, but if you just go like this and you go like this, wallah, you go a long way. And it goes under good character. Number 10 is gentleness. There's a hadith that mentions that verily Allah is gentle and loves gentleness in all things. When you deal with people, be a gentle person. How beloved is it to Allah for someone to know you as somebody who's gentle? You know, we have these ideologies today that, oh, and the man, he's this and he's like this. The Prophet was the best example. Was he not the example for us to follow? And if we take our brain today, what we dictate as a man, and we compare it to the Prophet, what's superior? So Sayyidina Muhammad was the best example of a man. He was the most man amongst any of us, and the bravest amongst us. And even him and his behavior was the most gentle. So inshallah, those are 10 points. I know you probably didn't remember 10 of them, but if there's just one thing that you can take with you, inshallah, it'll be beneficial. And I'll reiterate it one more time because it's very easy. Smile to your brothers. When you go out and you say Assalamu alaikum, smile to them. With the attention that, Ya Allah, I want to be like Prophet Muhammad. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا عصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. I appreciate you guys staying, and I apologize for going over time again. Assalamu alaikum.